Two teams in the Central Division who know each other extremely well. They both went through the most storied 7-game series that I can remember in the first round of the NHL playoffs ever. One team just beat a juggernaut, a monster under the bed in the Colorado Avalanche. The Dallas Stars did it with a player the Avalanche couldn't or wouldn't re-sign. Hat trick, down 2 goals, carried by their new $12 million superstar. The Dallas Stars dispatch what NHL analysts have called the hardest matchup in the playoffs. But hold on one second. The Winnipeg Jets, the President's Trophy winners, in a storied battle of their own, fighting demons that aren't another team, fighting demons that are themselves, fighting a narrative that goes against the grain, being told their goaltender isn't good enough, being told they aren't good enough, they don't have the compete, they don't have the will, they will break at the first sign of a challenge, pushed to the brink by an 8 seed, big, strong, brutal, hard-hitting, down 2-0, Game 7, 1.6 seconds left, goal. No superstars. Both teams down their best 2. One game decided in double overtime. One game decided by a game-breaking player. Both teams going into this battle injured, and both teams going into this battle extremely even. Winnipeg has always been a team that battles its own demons. It's a team of mental pressure against itself, not caused by a fan base, but caused by the internal pressure to succeed in a small market where everything in the regular season has been done. No Stanley Cup has ever been won or even attempted by a team like this. Winnipeg does it through offensive zone pressure, a 2-1-2 that transitions into a 2-3. They've used this all year. Kyle Connor or Mark Scheifele up the middle, receiving point passes from 44, or maybe it's 54 this time. Transitioning into a 2-3 where 3 players will play down low and battle for the puck. You want to know more about this? It's all in the book, Hockey Tactics 2025. The link is below. Puck is won and sent to the top off the draw. This is something Winnipeg's going to have to work on in the next round. They weren't good enough in the face-off circle, and they're unable to create opportunities this way. But just take a look at what happens here. As soon as the puck gets to the top, 55 is going to release. He's going to follow the pattern we just saw. Puck moves over to Morrissey, and now it's 55 looking to come to the top. It can be 55, it can be 81, it can be any way you want to run that play, but somebody is coming up to that corner. Bang, there's the puck. As soon as that puck hits, they move from a 1-2-2 into a 3-2, up to the top of the circle, just as we saw in Hockey Tactics 101, and move it over. You go high-low, you go left-right, east-west, you open up that lane in the middle, you slash it through for a goal. Doesn't matter who's in net. When you get a goalie moving that way and a team running around, that puck is going to go in, which is why it is such an effective play 5-on-5 for the Jets. The Jets also have the ability here to bang down low. 3 players down low, 3-2, put it low, keep it safe. They don't always need to go to the point. This is going to cause disarray for Dallas. It's big Adam Lowry picking up the puck. As Lowry comes through, he's going to decide at this point on the cycle to move it high. And as soon as he moves it high, it's a net front presence battle. You move that puck over, you get a guy over here on the far side to be opened up. It's usually Scheifele, Connor, Perfetti, or Ehlers, one of the more skilled players. Pick up that puck on the bottom left side and get right back into your 3-2. Not a lot of teams run 3-2s right now. 3 down low is odd. You usually have 1 up high in terms of a 2-3. You don't like the look, you go back to the point. Patience is Winnipeg's game. Over to Neil Pionk, who has the skill and the ability to transition his skating from left to right. Most Winnipeg defensemen do. Get a big body in front of the net, cause a tip in. It is going to be critical for Winnipeg to rely on the offensive zone 3-2 in order to beat Dallas in their D zone. And you can see here why it's so critical. The first thing that they say, the Stars collapse to their net at the first sign of trouble. As soon as anything gets brewing, the Stars end up moving towards the net. If you've been watching this regular season series, the reason the Jets dismantled the Stars in the regular season is because they got the green team moving close to their net, and they moved it up to the point where there was gap and trouble for your goalie to see. When pucks are at the point, that is hard for goaltenders to stop, and Dallas tends to collapse down low. So that will be a key part to the matchup in this series. If Dallas continues to go near the net, that won't be nearly aggressive enough to stop the Winnipeg Jets. The 3 down low are just there to bait the Dallas Stars close to the net. That's why you run 3 down low. If you want to keep guys high at the point, 3 down low is going to slash you. It gives you options. If they need to cover the point, you kill them down low 3-on-3. Offense usually has the advantage down low 3-on-3 because they can go wide and they can go long. But as soon as you bait those wingers to come below the top of the circle, you hit it to your point, you change angles, and you have 3 players ready to crash the front of the net. Net front presence is a lesson learnt from the St. Louis Blues. I almost said the Dallas Stars. From the St. Louis Blues, and it will be a lesson the Jets have to carry on in this series if they want to win. On Dallas's half, they're going to have to find a way to resist collapsing down to the 3-2, because if they do collapse, they're going to open up lanes for Winnipeg to slash. But how are the Jets vulnerable? The Jets are very vulnerable to aggressive forechecks and dump-ins. As soon as those pucks are loose, the defensemen go to retrieve it, and Winnipeg likes to do 2 things. Defenseman 1, Neil Pionk here, is going to pick up the puck. Defenseman 2, Josh Morrissey, is supporting. So both players go to attack the puck, one in a pickup, one in a supporting way, and that actually leaves the front of the net open. That forces Winnipeg's forwards to cover big bruising bodies in front, and forwards just simply aren't as skilled at doing that. So here you go, Neil Pionk picks it up. Josh Morrissey realizes he couldn't support on the left side. Now he has to follow, and a guy like Buchnevich caused all kinds of problems for Winnipeg. So the big hit goes on, and because they've gone left to right now, Winnipeg is in disarray, and you can see even a defensive-minded forward like Adam Lowry isn't going to be nearly as skilled as covering as the other guys will. Lowry ends up at the point, and now what do we see? Defensemen in disarray. Because they were unable to retrieve the puck, they have to get into some kind of system, but they don't have the ability to. Buchnevich just throws it on net. Ugly play, doesn't matter. Winnipeg is still in disarray because this has gone left to right. And from here, all you simply have to do is put a puck on net. And you don't see Winnipeg's forwards. They have a tendency of failing here, especially 81. They just don't get aggressive in their own D zone nearly enough when they're playing the way, well, they played on the road against St. Louis. Buchnevich kicks it up to his stick, and it's in the back of the net. And this is how Dallas is going to exploit this. As soon as the puck goes in, they actually send all 3 forwards to the strong side. They want to battle down low with 3, and then they want to cause pain and suffering down low to move it up high and have their forwards break out left. That is going to cause them to go from the strong side to the weak side, and that is going to cause nightmare net front battles for Connor Hellebuyck and the Jets forwards. If the Jets defenders are unable to retrieve a puck on a dump in or a loose puck, the Dallas Stars will have their lunch. And here you'll see an example of that against Colorado. You've got 3 players here on the strong side. They retrieve it, they move it to the point. Soon as they move it to the point, it's a quick shot on goal and the puck is down low. Once again, Tyler Seguin picks up this puck, and this isn't even the first line. This is the second line / third line for the Stars. They're going to go again, keep it low. They're looking to go high. They realize they can't, and Dallas will change sides repeatedly. Seguin is going to change sides here, and Seguin is going to move that puck from low to high. The first time didn't work, so let's go try it on the other side. As soon as they do again, it's another shot on net. And this does not favor Winnipeg, because those shots on net for Winnipeg, if you don't get a chance to box guys out, it goes in the back of the net. It's just that quick. Boom, goal goes in. Here's another prime example of it. Even better. You see all their forwards on one side here. They're stacked. There's your 4th defenseman. What are they going to do? They're going to win pucks, and they're going to look to kick it outside, just like I said they would. They're going to follow that little blue line. They find the puck. They move it over. Here you go. And plays like this caught the Colorado Avalanche. It will catch the Winnipeg Jets as well too. Great save. What do we notice here? Goalie has to come out of his crease in order to challenge it. Connor Hellebuyck is going to have to be better than he was last series. He had moments of greatness, but once again here, take a look at the goaltender. If you follow him, he's in his crease, it moves over, and he comes out of his crease more than enough right at the top to take that angle away. As the puck loops around, Dallas is hyper aggressive at holding the zone. So Winnipeg likes fast breaks. They like to move up as a team. Thomas Harley, Miro, Heiskanen if he's back, and the rest are going to turn this over. They're not afraid to put pressure on at the line. And look, you got 4 Dallas Stars in here. They wait, they turn it over, and because of their hyper aggressiveness, they're able to capitalize on numbers. They move it again right into that high slot. They get a second opportunity. When the puck doesn't go in, they have a lot of net front presence, and a guy like Jamie Benn, who is a much better version than Pavel Buchnevich, who absolutely torched the Jets, goes to the front. That will be the key to the Dallas Stars' success 5-on-5. If Dallas can get guys like Jamie Benn to the front of the net, it will be very difficult for Winnipeg to play. Winnipeg is well aware of this team. They've played them multiple times throughout the year, just like the Stars. The Stars are well aware of the Winnipeg Jets. The Stars need to find a way to exploit guys like Kyle Connor or other players who have, in the past, not been defensively strong. Throughout the season, we've seen hints that these guys are phenomenal when they back check and they put life and limb in front of puck. The question is, are the Winnipeg Jets, after learning lessons from the Dallas Stars, going to go back to playing the hard defensive style structure that they need to play to neuter the Dallas Stars offense, or are they going to go back to gliding? If they go back to gliding, a few games are going to go to Dallas. It could get ugly fast. But if they play aggressive and they take away that time and space, the overusage of the Dallas Stars on one side can be heavily exploited by a fast team like Winnipeg. You win that battle, you move it to the other side of the puck, you leave your zone. Winnipeg is excellent, absolutely excellent at scoring on the rush. And here's an example of it. Dallas breaks out. They move into the main zone. They dump it in. They initiate their forecheck. As they're going in, the Colorado Avalanche and Winnipeg can play very similar. They have the ability and the personnel to quick little reverse. That is exactly what Winnipeg is trying to do with the puck. They are trying to get their first defenseman on the puck, their second defenseman or their second forward to pick up the puck. If they make the right play, bang, they're out of the zone. So Devon Toews, Cale Makar are showing you the blueprint of exactly what the Winnipeg Jets defenders want to do. They play the exact same system. I picked this clip very specifically because this is the Landeskog line. Winnipeg does not have a player like Nathan MacKinnon. It just doesn't exist, so using that clip isn't fair. What that guy does is ridiculous. But Landeskog comes back from 3 years worth of injury. He's a meat and potatoes, hard skating player. He played significantly better in this series than I think anyone expected him to. And you got guys like Natchez out of here, and this line really does match what Winnipeg can do. So it's a quick little bump over to Natchez, and the over-aggressiveness here of Dallas, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where I'm talking. Winnipeg can exploit this. You move it over left to right. Winnipeg is quite known to do this. You lengthen the zone, you widen the zone, you catch a bunch on the other side, and you can put goals in the back of the net. So to me, this series is all going to come down to what Winnipeg and Dallas do in the Winnipeg defensive zone. That's where this game is going to be won or lost for both teams. If Dallas is able to execute their forecheck and send 4 to one side, Dallas is absolutely going to shred the Jets on some of those plays. But if Winnipeg is able to get their primary defenseman to pick up that puck and a secondary defenseman to quarterback call the play and break out, they're going to catch Dallas sleeping, and they're going to be able to put it in on the transition game. Winnipeg as well, with their 3-2 offensive system, will be able to control Dallas when they collapse towards the net. So that will be absolutely critical to getting extra goals for the Winnipeg Jets. I think it's going to be their transition and their D-zone puck retrieval first, or Dallas's forecheck that tells the story of this game. Goaltending will be a big story of this game as well too. Jake Oettinger has not looked shaky. Colorado is a different animal when it comes to shooting and scoring. So whatever goals went in off Oettinger, you got to throw them out the window. Winnipeg is just a different team. However, Winnipeg and any other goaltender will tell you, when you can't see the puck, you can't stop it. So it doesn't matter who's shooting it. Everyone in the NHL has a good shot. Everyone in the NHL can score. I get they're not Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar, but at the end of the day, the Jets can do this as a team, whether or not they have Scheifele or Morrissey back there. They have the systems in place in order to beat Dallas, and the Jets match up very well against the Stars. That doesn't mean the Jets are going to beat the Stars. It doesn't mean they're the favorite. It doesn't mean Dallas isn't a heavy favorite. It just means the Jets have a system built to exploit the aggressiveness of Dallas. But Dallas has a system that they do not need to change for Winnipeg. They don't need to be aware of what the Jets are doing. They just need to execute properly. And if they get a guy like Robertson and Heiskanen back, they are going to execute even better. The Winnipeg Jets power play also has to be something that gets going here. As Winnipeg tends to do, they lost the draw on this play. Winnipeg is not great on the draw. However, they are good at holding it in, and Cole Perfetti has absolutely exploded in the last 3 games for Winnipeg. He's been a stellar MVP for the team, and you got another guy back there named Dylan Samberg who has absolutely come into his own. Everything from Winnipeg starts either with a 3-2 down low or a 1-3-1. Right now, this is Winnipeg in a 1-3-1. There's your 3 kind of over here. Here's your 1 and here's your 1. But Winnipeg is really good at turning that into an overload. And here is your overload. Take a look. They come creeping over, and now you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Winnipeg is phenomenal at giving different looks, and Kyle Connor is absolutely deadly at changing time and space for angles. This is going to force 4 St. Louis Blues, and Dallas will do the exact same thing to get tight in and around the net, and they are very, very patient. It's a pitch and catch over to Morrissey, back to Kyle Connor, and all they are looking for is to create seams. They're looking to create a seam here, and they're looking to create a seam to bump out, or they're looking just to create a direct seam over the middle. Everything they do is for that. In this case, they go down low. They try to bump high. It's a little bit of a lucky play, but this is what happens when you play around the net. Now, conversely, the Dallas Stars on a power play, they have a few unique plays, and it all really is focused around 96. Their new toy, their new weapon. They got a lot of amazing players, but they look for these small cross-crease passes. Everything that Dallas does is a 2 or 3 pass across the seam of the ice, and because Connor Hellebuyck plays so deep into his net, Winnipeg should be prepared for this type of play. The defensemen have to get sticks in lanes. When you see this here, the puck moves down low to south, and they're coming over here for Rantanen. Unbelievable save. When you're short in your net, you have the ability to cover less angle and you can make more room. The problem with it here is that you exploit and leave a lot here open at the top. That can be nerve-wracking for the Winnipeg Jets fans and the Winnipeg Jets team. When they retrieve the puck, they go 4 down low, and they have just a hyper amount of skill on this power play. There are so many different looks they can give, but take a look at what happens here. They snuck to the backside. They love sneaking to the backside here because as they go high, now you have opportunities. You can just put pucks on net. You also have a backdoor option over here, and you have a third option to keep it down low if required. They can walk into a 1-3-1. They have this trick in their bag as well, too, as most teams in the NHL. There's your 1-3-1. They move it over to their shooter, and then here we go again. The Dallas Stars, 1, 2. Sometimes there's 3. There won't be 3 on this one. It's 1, 2, bang. Puck doesn't go in, but they're immediately crashing the net. Everybody is always to the net. That puck does go in, and Winnipeg has been known, and they were shown against St. Louis to get caught running around. St. Louis does not have the dynamic power play that the Dallas Stars do. So unless Scott Arniel and the Winnipeg Jets find a way to tighten up their penalty kill, the Dallas Stars will shred them on the power play. Winnipeg has to find a way to close those lanes close to Connor Hellebuyck, and they cannot allow the Dallas Stars to play pitch and catch on a 1-3-1 or transition to backdoor passes with 4 men overloads down low if they want to win. Dallas just needs to do exactly that. The Dallas Stars are going to have to stay aggressive. They're going to have to win those battles. The keys to them are simple. If you're going to send 3, sometimes 4 against that puck on a forecheck, you need to come out with that puck. If you are unable to win those battles when you outnumber people, you will be exploited and pucks will go in the back of the net. I will also be very interested to see if Jason Robertson and Miro Heiskanen return. That completely turns this team around. Thomas Harley is a great defenseman, but he's an even better defenseman when Heiskanen in. I think Mark Scheifele will be back. I saw him skating. I think he'll be cleared from his concussion protocol. If it was really bad, I doubt he'd be skating, so he should return in this series. Robertson, I'm unsure, and Josh Morrissey, I'm unsure. If Winnipeg is down their number 1 defenseman, the key to the victory then becomes Dylan Samberg. Samberg has been such a steady Eddie for the Winnipeg Jets, and he's only gotten better. I said it in the last video. He's ascending into number 1 defensive pairing status here. And it's simple little plays like this. Picking up the puck behind the net, wheeling, making a clear tape-to-tape pass. This is just simple hockey that gets players out of a zone. That initial play causes all kinds of chaos here. Because of that really nice breakout and faceoff win, Winnipeg is able to go to work. And Samberg, being the defensively responsible player that he is, waits back. He's going to come in at the bottom of your screen here. You'll see him enter shortly, pick up the puck, and now it's time to get offensive. He goes ahead, tries to make a pass, but you know what? It wasn't a bad idea because he read where the stick was. The stick wasn't in the lane. There was no threat of a takeaway here, so I don't mind the fact that he tried to move this puck over. If anything, the Winnipeg Jets player receiving that pass has to get lower. Fine. Bad bounce. Gone. Samberg makes a reach, but look at him tracking back. He immediately tracks back, gets back to the middle of the ice, and the threat for Winnipeg is gone. The other piece that I am loving about Samberg, again, it's only one shift here, guys, but there's so much going on. Look at the way he pivots towards the middle of the ice. That's huge. He doesn't just pivot on his strong side. He shoulder checks, waits. There's the shoulder check. Bang. I don't know if you saw it here, but you got to be aware. There it is. Look, looking back. Okay, I see you. Picks up the puck. And as Samberg picks up the puck, he's patient, so patient. He could have just rimmed that puck around the boards. He doesn't do it. He moves that puck over to his partner. Puck comes back to him because he waits. Once again, patience. Buchnevich all over the puck, and it's gone. That's it. There are so many facets to that shift and so many good decisions made by that man that it'll be such an interesting battle to watch guys like him and Thomas Harley play. Here's Thomas Harley. He's offensive and defensive. When you take a look, he's got really good instincts. Puck goes over to the corner. Harley's there to pick it up. Delayed penalty, moves it around. But we get there in such an interesting way. I love the position that he holds here on this play. It's on the defensive side of the puck. He sees that his team goes in with numbers, and the first thing that he does is step up to jump into the play. He goes, if we win this puck, I'm gone and I'm a fourth forward. But then he reads it. He doesn't cross this line right here, this horizontal line. If he crosses that line, he's on the wrong side of the puck. He knows better. He stops. He comes back and goes, well, guess it's time to get back on defense. We lost that battle. From there, he tracked back to the front of the net like I just showed you on that play. And from the front of the net, he opens himself up to start breaking out of the zone. Little plays like this is what catches my attention from defensemen, and guys like Samberg and Harley have had an opportunity in the first series to eat up minutes that guys like Heiskanen and Morrissey always do, and it is going to allow them to ascend. They have stepped up to the moment of pressure, in my opinion, and now both teams are better for it. I can't call it an advantage to either team because they just had two guys do it. So if Morrissey comes back and Heiskanen comes back, I think both teams just had a really nice ascension of both these two players. Look, guys, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. When it comes to choosing this series, it is too close to call. I think the narrative is going to be Dallas is going to smoke them and guys are going to go down below and they're going to put it in. I'm telling you right now, I don't think that's what's going to happen. It could happen. It absolutely could happen. Could be 4 and gone, but the Jets could go 4 and gone. Maybe. I think this series is going to go longer than people think, 6 or 7 games. My heart's with the Jets. My head, if I had to bet my house, home, and mortgage on it, would take Dallas, but I don't think I have to do that in this situation. I don't have to tell you my life, limb, and financial status is up here, so I'm going to take the Jets. I took them at the beginning of the playoffs. I'm going to stick with the group, but just know, before you torch me in the comments, I'm well aware of how good Dallas is. I'm well aware of who's favored in this series, and if you wanted me to take off the old hat and not be a fan, which is very difficult to do, and I hope you're here because I am one of the most neutral guys out there. We all have a bias. Probably would lean into the Stars. I just can't do it. So you down below, tell me how stupid I am for doing it. And we'll catch you guys on Wednesday. Hey, I've got to interrupt you here. Where all these awesome clips are coming from is a place called sportscontract.net. This is a platform that is made for coaches, for scouts. It is an unbelievable platform that gives you the ability to see everything from every player from every league right now. Look, you got Russia, Canada, USA, Belarus, Croatia. You go in here, you find your league, the NHL, the AHL, the East Coast League. If you want to be a real hockey nerd, You can go into all of these leagues. Here's the Swedish league. Look, you got the SHL. Everything is in there that you'd want. Every player you've ever seen is in here as you need it. We go down here, we find Alexander Ovechkin. You can find every piece of statistics from Ovi's career, including all his amazing goals. You can go into the NHL, last 3 names, current season. It's all there. And then when you're able to pull it up, you can create scouting lists, notes, data, anything you want. You hit play, you move into this video editor, and it gives you everything you would ever need from the game of hockey. Every shift of Ovechkin, every shift of Crosby. The link is down below if you're a coach or a scout or an owner of a minor league club. If you're a general regular, probably isn't built for you, but it's still neat and worth checking out. Thanks so much to sportscontract.net for helping me find these clips and make it quicker to break down hockey analytics